So you want to be a Paladin. So you want to passively be a tanky class. Then you've come to the right place. Paladin, in first job, isn't really all that tanky. I mean, sure, they have this skill, but every other class has it too. Or every other adventurer warrior has it. So I guess I'll show you first job mobbing. I think I forgot to do this with the Mihal video, or maybe I didn't, I don't remember. But anyway, first job mobbing, not all that amazing. It's just whatever. It's a pretty bad skill, it's very slow. I'm also using a two-handed weapon, which means my attacks are even slower. Just power through it until you get to second job. Just believe me, it gets better at second job. In second job, you get your first elemental skills. Flame Charge and Blizzard Charge, as well as Elemental Charge. So Flame Charge is, you know, just your mobbing skill. Or you can use it as a mobbing skill. I mean, because these guys... Okay, so as a Paladin, you actually have... Because you have elemental attacks, you can do more damage to certain enemies if they're weak to that element. So these guys are actually weak to fire. So, yeah, it's really, really nice. And as you can see, elemental... whatchamacallit? Wait, why does that say advanced charge? Well, anyway. Elemental charge. Every time you use a different element than the last one that you used, you get an extra stack. So right now I'm spamming fire, so it's not giving me an extra stack. If I were to use ice right after it, then I get a 2 stack, as you can see up here. So for every time that you stack it, you get quite a bit of bonuses. You get damage, your recovery amount goes up, your attack power, did I already say that? Probably. And you also take less damage for every stack that you have. So let me just show you the difference in elemental power. So if you use ice here, you only do 1.3, 1.5. If I were to use fire, which they're weak against, I do 2 mils. So, or even higher than that, like it's insane. Anyway, I've gone on about this topic long enough. So, the next attack you have is Close Combat. I don't really use it. Even in second job, I didn't really use it. I mean, I guess if I was at Drake's, I could do something like, actually, do I have it on a key? I do, okay. So, let's say I was at Drake's or something. I could do something like this, and then hit them with the attack, and then jump down, do it again. Just to, you know, not have to move around so much. Because it drags enemies from both in front and behind you. Of course you get boosters, so you can attack faster. Weapon Mastery doesn't really do much until 4th job, but I'll get to that when we get to it. And the rest are passive. 3rd job. So now you get Lightning Charge. And Lightning Charge is probably one of the stronger ones out of all the ones that you get. Oh, I actually forgot to mention. Okay, so each of the elements that you get. So if you use fire, you know, you put damage over time on the enemies. But if you use ice after a fire attack, or after an enemy has been hit by fire, you get 115% extra damage. And this goes for pretty much every element. So what you want to do is use fire, then ice, then lightning, because when an enemy's frozen, lightning does more damage. And then eventually in 4th job, you do holy after lightning. But I'll show you a combo later on that makes it better. So yeah, lightning charge, pretty normal, stuns enemies. HP recovery, you can just heal yourself 50% of your HP. But if you use it again within 15 seconds, the amount that it heals is reduced by 10%. So every time you use it within those 15 seconds, as you can see up here, it's counting down, you'll heal less and less every time you use it. But if you wait the whole 15 seconds, it resets back to 50%. Rush, same thing as, you know, it's just a dash skill that pushes enemies back. It's not too crazy. Threaten lowers enemies' accuracy, defense, and attack power. So it's really great on bossing or training if the enemies are hitting you too hard. Parashot Guard. reduces your guard chance and defense by 20%, but it gives that percent to your party members. So while your guard chance is reduced by 20 and your defense is reduced by 20, your party members actually take 20% less damage, but they have a 20% chance to guard as well. And on top of that, it also increases your attack power by 20. Just yours. I don't think it increases for your party. So you sacrifice defense for attack. Combat orders. Probably the best skill this class has for a party. What it does is it increases the skill level of your attack, or of your skills. So Rush used to be, only level 4. But because of combat orders, now it's at 6. Now, as you can see, it doesn't go over max, but in 4th job it does. So your level 30 skills can be level 32, and so on. So let's get back into the skills. Shield masteries, whatever, more defense. Divine Shield. When activated, there's a 50% chance to activate it. When activated, your attack power is increased by 20, and you can pretty much guard against 10 enemy attacks. And then, of course, while you have this on, you take 25% less damage from HP attacks. And yeah, that's about it for 3rd job. So let me show you some 3rd job training. If you find it too taxing to have 4 different keys for elements, you can always just use a macro, and then it'll just activate all 3 skills that you have in the macro. So this is pretty much how I used to train 3rd job. I would just stand here, do this, and then move on to the next spot, and so on. Oops, I used Holy. You weren't supposed to see that yet. Ignore that. Anyway. Alright. 4th job. 4th job, you finally get your bossing skill, your actual bossing skill. And it does a lot of lines, has pretty high damage, and yeah, that's about it. It's just a damaging skill. Divine Charge, or Holy Charge as I like to call it, just does holy damage. It seals enemies so they can't use magic attacks. It's like, you see how these guys are like try to breathe on you or try to jump or something? If I hit them with Holy Charge, they can't do it anymore. So they'll just try to walk into you because they can't attack. This only works on normal enemies, by the way, not bosses. And of course, if the enemy was hit by lightning beforehand, if the enemy was hit by lightning beforehand, the holy damage is increased. Magic Crash just prevents bosses from using buffs. So if I use it, this appears above the boss's head, and they can't attack buff, they can't damage reflect or anything. They just can't buff themselves. Heaven's Hammer. Pretty much your AoE skill. You can use it in the air, you can use it on the ground. Does 30% more damage to bosses. So, I mean, they try to make it useful for bossing, but I haven't really found a need to use it, except for maybe at Horntail or Zack or something. Elemental Force. So it increases your damage by 32%, and passively increases the damage to all of your other elements aside from Holy. Power Stance just prevents you from being knocked back. In 1st job, you had a 40% chance of preventing knockback, and then 4th job, it just fills it up to 100. Maple Warrior, just all stats. Hero's Will gets rid of Seduce, or any other status. Guardian. This skill just revives your party members. So yeah, you can be very good in a party. So High Paladin is your mastery. When wearing a one-handed weapon, or a one-handed sword, you gain 5% crit damage, 3% mastery. When you're using a two-handed sword, you get 5% crit damage, but no mastery. When using a one-handed blunt weapon or mace, you get 3% crit damage, 10% ignore defense, and 3% mastery. When using a two-handed blunt weapon or mace, you get 3% crit damage and 10% ignore defense, but no mastery. So basically, one-handed is better because of the mastery. I prefer swords, but I'm using a hammer because that's what I ended up making, because why not? And, yeah. And then the other skill is Advanced Charge. Increases your attack power every time you use different elements, basically. So if I were to use, you can even just switch between 2 different elements to make the number go up to 5. And here, I'll show you just how much it increases. So I'm at 165. And for every element that I use, I get more. And of course it stacks up to 5. Alright, so now into hypers. So for Threaten, I added a 25% chance to succeed, which means that it's a 100% chance when I cast it. I also increased the effect of it, so that enemies are reduced even more. For Blast, because it's the blasting skill, I put all of my points into it, and that's it. At level 150, you literally get God Mode for 30 seconds. So I'm going to activate it and walk around. Literally God Mode for 30 seconds. You don't take damage from anything. Percent HP attacks, nothing. It's just God Mode. Literally just God Mode. So yeah, if you ever want to just have God Mode, you can play a Paladin. Okay. Let's see. Smite Shield is your bind. So if I hit these guys with it, they will be bound for, I believe it was 10 seconds. So they won't be able to attack. Same goes for bosses. Won't be able to attack, won't be able to do anything. So, yeah. That goes for Paladin's, what do you call it? That's it for Paladin's, skills. So now let's just do a little bit of mobbing, just to show you what it's like training one. Now, because these guys are weak to fire, I would actually switch out one of my elements for fire, so that I can do more damage. So I'll just switch out, I guess I'll switch out Holy, and now I could just pretty much one-hit them, or come close to it, because fire does so much more damage. So anyway, that's the mobbing. And now let's get into bossing. Alright, so here we are at Von Leon. And the first thing I'm going to do is use an element that I haven't used yet. And then threaten, and then just do a lot of damage. You can pretty much just guard everything, except for percent HP, but that gets reduced. So, yeah, that's Paladin. I love this class. I really do. So I'm going to go ahead and bind him, just because I feel like it. And then of course if I want to, I can always magic crash, since bind is about to run out. And who knows, maybe he'll try to do damage reflect. And let's say he does activate damage reflect. Well, I'm just gonna allow him to do it. Never mind, it got blocked. Oh no, it didn't. So, yeah, you can use God Mode, and you won't do damage, but you also won't die to damage reflect. So I just wanted to show that off as well. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.